Yo, party people in the place to be. What's good? Salute to all my people watching us on Vibes and stuff, and salute to everybody watching on the Queen of Kings channel. Salute, you are watching an all-star collaboration. Queen of Kink is in the building, and we are joined by the A&R of everything on social media. That is our guy, Boro is in the building. Salute. The
Salute.
executive producer of everything on social media. Our guy,
No,
salute everybody. How y'all this Friday night?
I'm good too.
I'm good.
Good. So before we get deep into the conversation, what we want to do is first inform everybody that's watching this and are going to take tidbits from this. Just want to let everybody know this is a conversation, and I am not a professional. I am not a doctor. So take this as a conversation and don't take this as advice. If you need advice, please resort to professionals if you have an issue. So
I technically am certified in adult mental health, first aid, and substance abuse. So I will be the first point of contact for you guys.
Right. And so I was saying that for myself. I'm saying I am not. So Queen of Kink is. So take that. So take that for what you will, everybody. So first, let me pass the microphone off to Queen of Kink to let her say what it is that she want to say first, and Triborough and I will join in. The floor is yours.
Hi, good evening, good night, good morning. I don't know where you're watching from. I'm Marine. I go by the Queen of Kink or Goddess of Kink. I take mental health and suicide ideation very seriously. As I said, I am mental health first aid and adult substance abuse and mental health. So I will be the first point of contact if you guys are feeling like you're having an episode. If I can't help you, I will find someone that can. This is a topic that is very taboo within the minority community, the LGBT community, Hispanics communities. That needs to happen. This is Stormy, my co-captain for the night, guys.
Hey, Stormy.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
So the topic is taboo, right? And I think the mental health, I don't want to call it an issue because that's kind of disrespectful, but what I like to say is mental health in general is one of those topics that we don't necessarily talk about, because I think there are some things attached to mental illness that should not be attached to mental illness. And so I want to say thank you to those that have been putting out very inspiring conversations during the month of September, whether here on YouTube or in other spaces. Right. I want to say thank you to them for their very enlightening conversations. And we're going to have one of those tonight. And it's probably going to be very layered. So just prepare yourself, sit back, and get ready for an informative spot right here. Triborough, you want to jump in and add something?
Yeah, just wanted to support what Irene was doing, because I know she's been through a lot, and I can relate because I've lost, friends and family to suicide, unfortunately. And it's always like a tough subject to talk about. But I've never talked about this before, so it's something different for me to talk about.
Right. Me too. I'm a novice on the in terms of the education, but I'm very experienced in terms of events. Let me just put it that way. Yeah, Queen.
Oh, it's me first though.
Ooh, ladies first. Ladies first. Ooh.
All right. So, as we all aware that September is a month. I'm doing something. Just wait. Suicide prevention and how we can help those who are in need, who are feeling suicidal, who feel like that is the only option left. Well, I want to tell you that's not the only option left. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel. You know, there are people out there that's listening, that's here, supporting whether you see them or not. So you always just have to pay attention to the people around you because for me, I'm very smiley and giggly. Uh, but I've suffered for 7 different mental illnesses my whole entire life.
Right.
My major one is depression. It's on and off recently. I have my good days and my bad days, and most people that really don't know me will never know that I'm depressed because I'm always smiling.
Right. Right.
Usually, that is usually the ones who hide the most are the ones always making everybody around them happy, making sure that one is laughing and having a good time. They're always the ones that suffer the most in silence. So just pay attention to your friends that are always happy because they're the ones that are suffering. Whether they will tell you or not, just having a simple conversation with someone might change their perspective on life if they know that there's someone listening, there's someone that actually cares. There's a whole community that actually does care. Um, Even though you may not see everybody all the time, there are people virtually that are listening, that are here to be your light at the end of the tunnel and help guide you, guide
Right.
your way to the end and to better, brighter days.
So that just that in itself leads to a lot of questions. For one, outside of that one warning sign, I know there has to be multiple other warning signs. And and as somebody that may be undiagnosed but see that in someone else, how do you handle, say, seeing the warning signs in someone else and then at the same time maybe going through the same thing and you not recognizing that you may have one of a mental illness yourself? Like, how do you recognize someone else but you can't recognize yourself?
I'm very observant of people around me. That's just usually how I am. I'm an energy type of person. I feel energy from people, and I can always tell when someone's energy is off. And I always make sure that, especially my friends and family around me, are okay. I check in. I'm like, hey, are you okay? I noticed that your mood shifts. What's going on? Like, I'm a very observant person when it comes down to everybody around me. I'm always checking in on my friends and family to
Right.
make sure that everyone is okay. And I like to listen. You
Okay.
can vent to me about anything. I'm a good listener. I'm give out good advice. I just don't take my own advice. Bad at it. Did it bad at it all my entire life. you
Right.
know? But
Right.
I will give you some advice and I will definitely help you in trying to navigate your emotions and navigating your feelings in that moment.
Okay. Okay. One of my questions, another question I have is how do you know when something's not right? Like, for instance, you walk in the kitchen, you get startled. You know you're startled, right?
Yeah.
But how do you know the difference between going in the kitchen and getting startled, and then having a feeling of trepidation going in the kitchen, thinking about the kitchen, and it leading to thoughts? How do you know, like, one is just because I got startled and the other one may be anxiety?
So, you want me to answer that?
Yeah, sure.
Um, I don't know. Like, I think when I was a teenager, I did suffer from that a little bit because, like, I had like when my grandmother died, I didn't know how to handle it. and she died like when I was like 14, 15. I'm still like going through adolescence by myself without no father. Coming from a single parent, and she meant like the whole world to me. And when she passed away, I didn't deal with it well. You know what I'm saying? Like I got angry a lot. I stayed to myself a lot, and it was really music. It was really music and listening to music that was my therapy. That got me through it. I didn't go to a therapist. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't go to a therapist. I just didn't want to talk to a stranger and be on their couch talking about my inner feelings. So I turned to music. I turned to writing poems, writing short stories. Just getting my thoughts out on paper. And you know, I was just really young. I didn't deal with it in the right way, and I every
Wait. Let me. So, where were the adults?
they were here, but my mom was here, my grandparents, but it was just that everybody was grieving in their own way,
Right.
and I didn't understand that at 14. You know what I'm saying? I was just thinking about how I was feeling, and how much I missed her. You know what I'm saying? Because she was like the leader of the family, and once that leader is gone, it's like it's a different, you know.
If you don't mind me asking, was it a sudden passing or was it one that was maybe protracted and you kind of suffered along with the family?
She she had diabetes, and
Okay.
she had like she was in the hospital. She had a couple of strokes, and she was in the hospital, and she just never came out. And I was at that time I was in junior high, so I was like seventh, eighth grade, and while she was in the hospital, so I was young, and I didn't have nobody there at that time to to talk to me about that stuff. And I had to really go through that on my own, and it was a learning experience for me, just with how I was feeling, and having seeing my real friends there, and seeing who wasn't my friends that wasn't around, and I just didn't want to be around nobody. I just wanted to be still to myself, and deal with how I was feeling, and for whatever time it was going to take.
Right. Hey man,
And
so
it took a couple years, because like all through my teenage years, I really dealt
I don't think
with.
you're telling me the truth on that, bro. I don't think it took a couple of, I think it took longer than that. I think he's still maybe dealing with it. No disrespect for because
uh,
for one, let me first say this.
you know
Man, I'm sorry that you had to go through
right.
that passing. Regardless how long ago in terms of time,
Mm,
things do take time to heal, but sometimes some things take longer to heal from, and some things we never heal from.
right.
And then the other thing I want to say too is I appreciate the fact that you had enough courage to share your experience, not with just us two
Right.
here on the live stream, but everybody that'll watch.
Mm,
And so I think that takes a level of bravery that we don't often see. So I really appreciate the fact that you were willing to share that.
yeah.
The one thing I want to ask though, and I know Queen want to jump in and ask you some questions too, and say some things too, but
Right.
the one thing I did want to say to that is when I asked you about the adults, it
Mm,
wasn't that I was asking you because I felt like they were negligent, because I know they wasn't. I
mm,
know they were not. I feel like they were grieving at the same time you were grieving,
yeah.
and then when there's no counsel around to help everybody grieve, we all tend to grieve individually, right?
Yeah.
And like on an island, like everybody is on their own separate island
Right.
grieving with things
Right.
one way or another. And on your island, you found an outlet to grieve in terms of the arts through music
Right.
and writing and things of that sort. But people around you probably found other ways to grieve. Maybe they smoked a cigarette, Maybe
Yeah.
they baked cakes, maybe they hummed, maybe they had their own
Thank you.
way of grieving. And I appreciate you sharing that. Queen, you had something you want to?
Um, yeah, grief is a very tricky thing in life. Everybody grieve at their own pace and their own time. Um, I think my hardest loss was my brother and my mom. I lost my brother in 2018. He was 26. He died from asthma, and he died so suddenly. Um, 2 months prior to his death, we just welcomed his fourth child, my niece. Um, and then the next thing I know, he's no longer here. He died on my older niece's 12th birthday. Um,
Hmm.
and I don't think I ever really properly grieved my brother. I think I just kind of just subsided because my mom needed me because my mom was really sick at the time.
Right.
Um, when I came back to New York, I had dealt with my own issues. I had got pregnant before I had my little Stormy over here. I had a miscarriage in the train station. I never grieved about my miscarriage. I just kind of just sucked it up.
Right.
Um, I would say 2.5 years after my brother passed away, I lost my mother to COPD. My mom was 57 when she died.
Hmm.
And I think between grieving my brother, grieving my miscarriage, me going through postpartum depression, all of it hit me at once. I thought I was mentally ready because I knew that the time was going to come.
Right.
And when it actually happened, I fell apart. And it was really, really hard. And I think it took me about a year to actually really get it together. And people was like really not surprised, but it was like me being so strong and me just being everybody's backbone. I no longer could be that backbone.
Right.
And it was hard because I went to isolation mode. I forced myself to be a parent every day for my
Right.
children.
Right.
And that was just a dark moment in my life. Like I said, I was grieving my brother, my miscarriage, postpartum depression kicked in. So it was like all of it just came crashing down. The whole world just came down.
And
And
listen, we appreciate you. We appreciate you sharing. That's a lot of tragic events in a short period of time. And listen, we can't help you go through that because that's something you have to go through. But the fact that you shared it with us helps us heal from things that we've been through. Even though we only know each other over the internet, just the mere fact that you mentioned that helps me along the things that I've been grieving about for years too. Right? Because I too lost a younger brother that passed away due to illness. Right? And I think people watching just see the strength that it took you to just summon up those feelings just to share, even though we can see that they still have you scarred some, right? And emotional scars aren't bad things. Emotional scars come from healing. You can't have scars if you're not healing. That's just a part of it. So we appreciate that, the fact that you're sharing and is in are in an emotional place to reach out to others and help others.
you cannot put your arm on the computer. That's why I said you can't sit on my lap like that. Sit right there in color. Yeah, it's like I said, grief is tricky. Everybody grieving their own way. Sometimes people go through multiple tragic events to get to that healing point.
Right.
And I earned my degree a year and a half after my mom passed away.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I graduated October of 2022 with my associates. Not only just to make myself proud, but to make my mom proud because I did promise her no matter what, I was going to get my degree. I also published my first book that year, earned several certificates. So I did turn all my grief into.
Wait. So you went through all that stuff and had a family, and you still graduated college.
Yeah.
You don't. And let me ask you this: how proud of that are you?
I'm proud of myself. I take all my what people would think are losses. I take them all and turn them into lessons. Um, I guess I have to go through it to get me to a place where I wouldn't say I'm okay, but I'm coping with the loss of my mom because she was my only parent, my best friend. We lived together. I took care of her. So it just got to a place where now I'm learning how to cope. It still bothers me sometimes, but it's like a day by day type of thing that I have to continue to just cope and learn how to keep coping with it until I get to where I'm at a point where it doesn't hurt so much.
What the noise? Doggy, dog, doggy, doggy.
You got good hearing.
She hit a dog.
Yeah, that's a very spoiled pit bull Staffordshire Terrier. Very spoiled. We're getting his nails done next week.
Thumb is there.
So my question for you is, when did you realize that you had the storage of empathy that you could share your story without getting back to that dark place that we all may either visit or exist in? Because when I went to the dark place, I didn't want to talk to nobody. Nobody couldn't tell me nothing. I just wanted to exist there and figure it out on my own.
Yeah.
Right. But somehow you use that as fuel to help you graduate from college. Like, so how did you get to that place?
Therapy helped. I went to therapy because I was so emotionally neglected growing up that I didn't know how to emotionally be available to anybody. I was so emotionally detached that I was affecting my kids. So I had to learn how to be emotionally there for myself so I can be emotionally available for my children so my children can have a healthy emotional development. Writing has always been a helpful outlet for me. Even if I didn't talk to anybody, it was always writing. My poetry has always been my way to escape. Me reading books have always been the pathway out because I did come from a very unorthodox background and growing up. Um, but I always had a passion for helping people. I was always trying to be a voice for the voiceless, especially growing up in the urban communities. There was nobody to speak up for kids like me who grew up in those early 90s when parents are still addicted to drugs and kids who wound up in the system. There was nobody for us, nobody that understood growing up so fast. I had to be an adult before I was even an adult. So sometimes I revert back to being a child because I never had that easy childhood.
That
It was always
runway of being right. I think as now that we're older, we look back on some events that happened to us in our adolescence that shortened the runway of our childhood and forced us to be adults faster than we should have been. But that's not our generation thing. That's a societal thing. Because when I talk to my parents, they had the same type of events happen to them. Not the same ones, but the fact that they had to grow up faster than they should have. And when I talked to my grandmothers before they passed away, the same thing happened to them. At 14, 15 years old, they had to become women, right? Talk to my aunts and uncles and them. And y'all pardon my English, man. I'm not an English major. I just talk from the heart. So if my English is not perfect, pardon that. But when you look back at the generations, I think we all had the generations all have those moments where the kids had to become adults at 12, 13, 14. And if you're lucky, you can get to 17 or 18, right? Before becoming an adult. And even at that age, in my experience, when you're 17 and 18 years old, you're not thinking like an adult. You're not even thinking like a young adult. Like the first time we got a paycheck or whatever, we just want to blow it on whatever. And adults think about those checks going towards bills. And so when you mention that, I want to say now, and I'll probably say it a few more times during this live stream, that kudos to you for having the strength to share your message with others, and the fact that you are strong enough to come from that place and recognize that you were in that place deserves kudos also, because a lot of us have been to that place and we're so ashamed of it that we don't mention it to anybody else. Like we won't tell anybody that we were depressed, or certain things prevent anxiety to us, or that at times we think about harmful things like harming ourselves or harming others.
I don't got no Kit Kat. Go on, even. You have a Kit Kat. I don't have a Kit Kat, Samira. You do. No, I don't. Yes, you do. All right, go even.
And I went to the CDC website to find data that support this conversation. And according to the CDC says the age standardized prevalence of depression among non-Hispanic, Black, or African adults is 16.2%. Trump 16.2. That means out of every 100 people you see in New York City every day, 16 of them are depressed.
Yeah.
At some level.
Take it all.
I'm doing.
I think it's just people choose to deal with it in a different way. And I never even when I got depressed, I never thought about harming myself. You know what I'm saying? That just wasn't an option for me. I just knew that how I was feeling, and I knew that at some point I was gonna get over it, because I know it's life. I know people die. I've lost. My aunt died from cancer in 2005. My grandfather died in 2009. So I've lost a lot of friends. I had a friend that committed suicide in 2018. Cousins that passed away. There was a family friend that was living with us back in the 90s, because he was going through a bad divorce with his ex-wife, and he was a family friend. He was a friend of the families, and we took him in like he was ours, and he stayed with us for a couple years. And unfortunately, he took his life, and he had kids.
Wow.
And it's just dealing with all those family tragedies. I know it's a part of life, and I think I know how to deal with it a lot better now than I did when I was a teenager. And I tell people, they cherish your loved ones. Spend as much time with them. Tell them that you love them, because you never know when they're not going to be here the next day.
Right.
And just being on here, doing what I do, and being on these different platforms, it's allowed me to talk about it. Because if I years ago, I would have never did this. But I feel like I have a voice, and for people that, if they can't speak about it, I could be their voice. And they could relate to what I went through, because they might be going through it now, or they might have went through it in the past, and that's how I look at it now.
Right. Right. Yeah, man.
I feel like us talking about our experience is going to help someone else speak up about theirs. Um, for me, I had suicide tendencies when I was 10 and 12. Um, the first time I tried to commit suicide, I was 10 because I was molested by my mom's second oldest child, my brother that I don't talk to, my stepbrother, and my mom's third husband. When I was 10, it's like a lot of emotion, but there was nobody to talk to. So I thought that it was an option. If it wasn't for someone cutting the rope from around my neck, I wouldn't be here. Um, at 12, I wrote a letter to one of my classmates who gave it to the therapist in school who contacted my mother. But because my mom was sick and she really didn't want to deal with it, there was no help to deal with my level of depression and anxiety. She had other stuff going on. So it just, everything just always went unnoticed. I just buried my feelings and continued to do it. I write about my suicide attempt in one of my poetry books. Um, hopefully it can help somebody understand that we all struggle. We all sometimes find that light and a purpose.
Right. 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 So as a listener, and I hear you share um your experiences, all I can think about is how society commits these things and there is no where a child can seek refuge, because job number one as a human being, period, is to make sure that children are safe. Right? That's our number one job. People think it's paying bills. It's not, because when you pay the light bill, guess what? The light bill is going to be back around next month. Right? And you pay a light bill so that you can keep your kids safe. Right? And I think now more so than ever, especially back then, I think there are maybe outlets around where you can get these types of help. But it's a shame that there are adults walking around that had their childhood stripped from them at an early age. And I'm not gonna lie to you, when Queen shared her story,
Mhm.
it just bounced off my callous skin. You know why? Not because I don't feel for Queen, right?
Mhm.
But I've heard similar stories so many times that when she was sharing, I was like, you know what? I have family members who went through that. I
Yeah.
have friends who went through that, right?
Same.
And I know people that are in their 50s right now, women in their 50s that are still dealing with that, even though it happened 40 plus years ago,
Yeah.
and they're still dealing with it emotionally.
Go find the seat.
Yeah.
And it's not fair. It's not. When we hear something like that, we should be shocked and appalled by it. But we're not, because we hear stories like that so often.
Yeah.
Right? We hear stories like that. So, and honestly, the truth behind this entire thing is the people that do these things should be held accountable,
I agree.
right? But the people that do these things, they can say no, they didn't do it. That was 10 years ago, 50 years ago. I didn't do that.
Great. Yeah. Like me and Irene, we talk all the time, and I tell her all the time that she's like one of the strongest black women that I ever known to go through what she went through, and with her childhood, and bounce back from it. And she's a great mentor. She's written books. She's in school. She's a loving and caring person, and I think that's why I care about her so much. And I told her, like, she needs to. She wanted to start a podcast or platform, and I told her this is the perfect like opportunity to talk about what you've been through, and a lot of other people could relate to what she went through.
It's a shame, bro, that we have to have these conversations
Yeah.
in 2024. These conversations dating back to the 2020, the 2010s, back to the 2000s, back to the 90s, the 80s.
Hmm.
You know, and it doesn't make it doesn't make any of those things go away, but it does help those that may be that it may help others, because the sad part of this is we can't rewrite history, but we can definitely impact the future.
Yeah.
Is that nobody talks about the trauma in the black community. Everything is kept inside, and it's time for change and amongst our people, because I feel like, especially with a lot of the children and a lot of the men, especially the men feel like they've been told so much that it's not okay to cry. You have to just suck it up, and that's not fair to them in their mental health.
No,
Um, it's all right to have feelings. It's all right to express yourself. You should never feel like just because you're a man that you're less than if you have emotions or you're going through something. There are some women out there that are going to listen. That's going to help your mental. That's going to be able to pick you up when you fall. That's never going to judge you. That's a real woman. These little girls, they're going to call us names in the book.
right.
They're gonna put you down every chance they get, because they're not mentally mature enough to handle when a man needs them. But a woman's gonna stand there and they're gonna listen. They're gonna help you. They're gonna be your backbone when you feel like you have no one else to turn to. And I'm all on for feelings and making sure that not only my feelings are heard, but my significant other. Gotta always listen to your partner. Always gotta be there for them mentally, because I feel like men suffer the most because they feel like they have to be strong all the time, and it's not fair to them and their mental when they're struggling.
So I disagree with you on that. And listen, I know it's the first time we disagreed on something, right? All right. So, ladies, so for the record, we've never disagreed on anything until just now. Where I disagree with you is I don't think men are the most susceptible. I think little girls are. Right? Not women, not 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, not them. But I'm talking about young girls that struggle with emotional and identity crisis. Like when they're at the young girls, when they're at that age, when they're looking to figure out who they are as a person, right? Like I'm talking about girls that go to school for the first time and they realize that the girl in the class with them is a light-skinned person with yellow hair, right? And then now they have the differences conversation, right? Like, why is she different from me? Why can't I have yellow hair? Or going to school and seeing popular girls have this. Maybe it's a book bag, maybe it's certain sneakers, and they don't have it. And then they struggle with the thing like, well, I want to be popular like them. I want people to accept me like they accept them. And then girls that age go down this road of emotional deficit and identity crisis.
Low self-esteem. I was one of those girls.
Why? See, you beat me to it. So now you agree. So you agree with me, all right?
I was definitely one of those girls, especially as bullied through elementary and middle school. Elementary, it was, oh, you're too light. Why your hair is so long? Why your clothes are so clean? When I got to middle school, it was, my mom was very sick. My mom was very skinny. Oh, your mom is a crackhead. Oh, you don't have Coach sneakers. Oh, this. All right. It was every little thing that girls can try to nitpick apart. And I laugh at the girls now because the same girls that picked at my appearance all look like straight crackheads.
Right.
And they're the same age as me.
But if I tried to explain it to you when you were 11 years old, you wouldn't want to hear it at age 11 because you were actually going through it at age 11. If I told you, hey, don't worry about that because in 20 years, them girls that's laughing at you now, you might laugh at them. If you're classy, you won't. But you might be laughing at them in 20 years. But the thing is, the reason why I say that is because that same age group I mentioned, they can be the meanest people on planet Earth, bro. If you've never been, they're having a ball, bro.
Yeah.
But if you've never been around a bunch of 10-year-old girls, they are the meanest. They can be the meanest people on the planet.
Right.
They'll call you fat. They'll call you ugly. They'll do it in a group. Yeah. They'll knock your books out of your hand. And they stay that way from about 10 years old, 9 years old, 10 years old. They stay that way until some say they never change. Right. But I know women grow up and mature. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But when girls start getting in that hormone age where they start transitioning from a baby, like a little kid, to that pre-adolescent age, all the way through teenage years and all that, those age girls, they could make a pack of angry pit bulls cry, bro.
Yeah.
And they will pick on something, they will bully, and they will do it every day relentlessly. My experience, like I used to work for the school district,
mm-hmm.
right? And when I first started, I think we had the second grade class. I had like a second grade class.
Right.
And those girls in that class were so innocent. But the next year, they moved me to the sixth graders because they had all the vacancies. They had all the vacancies for the sixth graders. Mm-hmm. And you're talking about a group of girls that go from age 7 to age 12. The difference between the age 7 girls and the age 12 girls are night and day. Right? When I was dealing with that, the 12-year-old girls would come in with the old hooker red lipstick, look like night walkers on their face. And since they were 12, they don't know how to do it. And so it looked funny. They look like the Joker, but they don't know it because they're trying. They're trying to be grown women. Like they talk with their hand on their hip and they wear like these low-cut shirts and stuff. I'm like, hey, you're 12. Be 12.
Right.
Be 12 years old. But those 12-year-old girls would pick on other 12-year-old girls that are trying to be 12 to the point where it's like peer pressure, like forcing innocent girls to not be innocent.
Right.
Pass notes talking about how many boyfriends they got. Right. And all these. I go with somebody in the 8th grade. You go with somebody, you're in the 6th grade. You're 12. I go with a teenager. That's not Cool. And what happens is, if you're not in the accepted group of kids, you'll get bullied to the point where you start to question who you are as a person. Why am I this way? Why does my family not have such and such? Why does my mom not buy me the stuff that I want? Why is everybody always picking on me? Or why is my hair not long enough? Why do I have to wear glasses? Right? Why? How come? How come my teeth are not straight like such and such? And you start questioning yourself at a young age. And my fear is that when young girls go through that, questioning period of questioning themselves, become women that question themselves and can't find answers to a question or problem that doesn't really even exist. It was just the fact that they were bullied. Like your skin tone, like there's nothing you can do about your skin tone. You are who you were made to be. You're not going to change that.
I think it's worse now than it was when I was growing up. Social media is raising these girls, and it's the time of BBLs and titties and tummy tucks and bullshit.
Right.
Like, I tell my daughters all the time that you're pretty regardless of what anybody tells you. My 7-year-old's in this thing where she wants to wear makeup because she had a little Spanish friend who wore makeup. And I'm like, honestly, we're black women and we don't crack. We will always forever look young.
Right. Yeah.
Like, you know, and I always have to instill at her, like, you don't need it to be pretty. You're pretty regardless. My daughter is probably about a shade or two darker than I am because her dad is dark. So always tell her, your melon is popping, baby. I don't care what anybody say. Self-love, and teach your kids self-love. Because if not, they're going to want them at somebody's table looking for a BBL and a tummy tuck. And I can tell you, when I tell people my age, they be like, nah, you're not 30. You don't got 4 kids. Where?
Right.
I'm like, because I come from the era of we were proud with the skin that we're in. It took me a while after having children to love my skin because I was not a size 0 anymore.
Right.
But I didn't go out there looking for the BBLs or the tummy tucks because I'm like, I didn't come from that era of women. The women I seen on TV were naturally pretty. Now these girls got a Nicki Minaj to look up to, a Sexy Red to look up to. Like, the women that they're seeing on TV are giving them this false image
Right.
of what women look like. And I'm here to tell you that's not what real women look like.
Right.
Okay. They don't have tummy tucks and BBLs and titty lifts and implants all over the place. Real women don't look like that, especially not after having children. We do not look like that. We have stretch marks and love handles, and we are trying to get it together over here. That's what a real woman looks like. Not what you see on TV. That's all a false image. I tell my daughter the same thing. I said, false image. That's not what real women look like.
Right.
Look at me as an example of what a real woman look like, because I come from that era and that time where natural women were appreciated. Right. It was a commodity to have the women with the natural bodies. Now everybody want a BBL. I don't know why. I work in a warehouse and the only thing I see is BBL Century. I'm like, you're driving to a company and you got a BBL. Make it make sense, bro. Like, come on. Like, we can't be this ignorant in this buffoonery.
Women have been headed down this path for years, though. They've been headed down this path for years of I remember there used to be a certain thing called
You want to hold it?
A girdle. Now, and I know y'all don't know what a girdle is because y'all probably a little bit younger than me.
My grandmother used to wear ones. I know about it.
It's not called a girdle no more. It's called a waist trainer, but I have one.
But what I'm saying to you is this. I remember meeting a girl at a church function. We were like 17, right? And she walked by, and I was like, "Wow, she looked like Betty Boop." Long story short, after the beginning stages or whatever you talk with her, I get to her house and she like, whew, I couldn't wait to get that girdle off. And I was like, what? Huh? You look different. Your waist is not, you're not a 22 waist. You had a girdle on. And she was like, yeah, everybody wear girdles. And this is like the mid 80s, by the way. This is like the mid 80s. And so when I saw her, I was like, you didn't even need a girdle. Why you wearing it? You didn't even need one. She's like, everybody do it. And I was like, oh boy. And I was like, if everybody jump off the Triborough Bridge, would you jump off the Triborough Bridge?
No.
And so, first of all, I don't know how one person in New York gets their own bridge, Mr. Triborough. I don't know how you get your own bridge, right? But
that's the bridge that goes into Brooklyn. And I'm from Brooklyn, so it just made sense.
I thought you owned it. I thought they were
No.
collecting money on that bridge just to give it to you. I thought that's how you lived, bro. I didn't know. But here's the thing. Women are always going to look to change or improve their look. No matter what we say, they're not going to do that. They've been doing it for centuries, eons, right? Improve or change their look. But to the extent that they're going to do this,
It's
like
not crazy.
Yeah, like the BBL thing to me is out of control, but not as out of control as the eyelash thing. The eyelash thing is just stupid.
Oh my God, please don't make your eyelashes.
The eyelash thing is stupid. It look like women have typewriters on their eyelids. It just looks stupid to me. It look like they got a broom on their face.
See, for me, it's the long ones I can't stand. The ones that are extremely fucking long for no reason. Like, how the fuck do you see out of that? The normal ones, the little ones that they put, the little individual ones, I can get behind those, all right? But not the really, really thick, long ones. That shit pisses me off. Okay? I'm all for you want to throw some eyelashes on, some lipstick on because you going out somewhere. But it'd be like, Jesus, why? I guess I'm not a girly girl, so I don't really understand. Then one time I tried to put them things on, it was not working. I was like, fuck it.
I just can't. I just can't do it. Some things I just can't. Women all over, y'all are beautiful the way y'all are. Don't worry. Y'all worry about the most unimportant things. It's like somebody whistling at you at the mall. Okay. What happened when you get home? The people at home should be appreciating you. You should appreciate yourself.
Facts.
I think it's just a superficial thing that people fail to realize. I always tell people, right, no matter how much you try to change your looks, that's not gonna keep no man. Gotta love yourself first before you can try to keep somebody, bro. Like, I'm okay with 90% of the time looking like somebody mama, and the other 10% when I step the fuck outside, I look like, damn, baby, where the fuck you been at my whole life? Like, I can do it. I just don't like to. I'm not into the. I want to be pretty every day. I just want to look like somebody mama. Wear sweatpants every day.
Right.
It just takes too much out of my time to be trying to be a girly girl all day. Like, I'd be like, how do you got time to put 10 tons of makeup on?
And some girls are girly girls. That's just naturally them. No disrespect to y'all. If that's who you are, do you? And if you're at the other end of the spectrum, if that's who you are, do you? Right? My thing is I think a lot of times we let society tell us who they want us to be instead of us being the person or entity that we want to be.
Right.
Do it for yourselves and not for a trend. If you're going to wear makeup or eyelashes or go get breasts done or your butt done, do it for you and not to fit in. Because I feel like sometimes with cosmetic surgery, it is a mental illness because everybody has it. And some people are just not happy with God gave them. If God wanted you with a big butt, he would give it to you. Honestly, it's not all the hype that you think it is. God wanted you with some big ass titties, he would give you some big ass titties. Not all the hype you want to. Back problems come with that shit. So, just take what God give you and work with it.
right? It's the thing about originality that I think leads us down the roads of conversations like this one, where if you're not 5'5" and look like a track athlete, then people are like, you know what? You're 5'5" and don't look like a track athlete. And you know what? That person should say, I knew that. I looked in the mirror this morning. I knew before you knew. Right? But the thing is we're not accepting of those things. I think peer pressure leads us down the road of a lot of anxieties.
Of course it does. Peer pressure's a motherfucker. I'm not 5'5". I'm 4'8.5". Been this height since sixth grade. Have stopped growing since. I'm not gonna get no taller. It's okay though. It's okay.
Right. Right.
Just accept it.
Right. And I'm on the other end of that spectrum, right? I'm a very, very, very tall human being. Right. And I've been picked on for that. Like I remember going to school. Like when you're tall, you go through these growth spurts and it's unpredictable. Like your mom can buy you pants 3 weeks ago. And before you can wear those pants twice, they hot water. Right. And people used to walk up to me, but like, hey, Uncle Freezie, pull your shoes up. I'm like, pull my shoes up. I look down and my pants be hot water. And like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Or girls would say stuff like, because when you grow through growth spurts, sometimes you be awkward, right? And girls would be like, ew, he ain't right. He touched something wrong with him. No, ain't that real? I'm going through when you go through growth spurts. Of course, when you run, sometimes you're gonna fall. You still getting used to a new body. Every time you go through a growth spurt, you're going through something with a new body, right? So now I'm 6'5", right? And I can't even find clothes. I legit have to find a specialized place to get clothes off the internet and pay 3 times as much as an average size man is gonna pay for clothes. So if it costs a man $150, it's gonna cost me $450. Right? But then if I don't stay fresh, people gonna pick on me anyway. Like, ew, he nasty. Like, you know what I'm saying? So you go through these things of the thing in these social norms that if you don't fit into social now, some social norms are good, right? Like structure, like social norms, like be on time, right? Be a good person, right? Help others. Some social norms are going to be good. Other social norms, every woman has to have a BBL. That's not, yeah, that's crazy.
Mm-mm. Not the ones that make them have your thighs and your ass matching. Like, can we fix that? Like, get it together down there, please. That'd be annoying. Why your thighs are so small and your ass is this big? Like, can't even do it right.
Right.
Make my head hurt.
Yeah. 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 But I think they go through it because they have like the mental illness part of it. They have something where they feel like if they get this, then people will accept them. But what they don't realize is people never accept you for who you are, no matter what change you make. All they'll do is once you get that BBL, now they're gonna start calling you broke. What your broke ass? Because now you pay for the surgery. Now where your money coming from?
Unless you got a sugar daddy to sponsor your lifestyle. It's hard to find those.
Right.
See,
right.
I got the opposite problem that you have with clothes. Like, I'll be liking a lot of clothes, like jeans, that are longer than my legs. And people are like, why do you do that to yourself? Because it's a height thing, right? Mind your business. Like, I'm short, but I like these bell-bottom jeans over here that are currently past my ankles.
Right.
But with my children, me and my 7-year-old are the same height. Like, we're the same height.
He's not that short.
Can you imagine that?
You're not that short. I don't think you're that short.
I am that short. I'm 4'8". My daughter's like 4'7", 4'8". Me and my daughter are literally the same height. She's 7. because her dad is 5'11". My son is
Maybe
12.
she might be short without the shoes on, but she's not like that short. When you wear shoes, you're like 5'1".
You lying. You sound like my doctor. They always changing my height every time I go. They can never get it together. But like my son is 12 and he's like 5 feet 5'1" at 12 because his dad is like 6 feet tall. I'd be like, can y'all stop growing in this house? Like
When I was 12, I was 5'8". Right. I remember when I was 12, my father was 5'10". And so when I was 12, I can look my father in the eye. And my father would be like, "Don't you be looking at me in my eyes." Right. Right. Because you know, but the thing the thing I want to mention about the mental illness awareness and certain mental illnesses and certain disturbia, right? Certain emotional disturbia is some of it I feel like is a hormone chemical thing in our bodies. And some of it is environmental factors, like we mentioned, peer pressure.
and some are genetic.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's reinforced not just by people on the outside, but it's our habits, right? Like I listen to a certain type of music where everybody that does the music brags all day about what they have. And they brag about their power and they brag about their influence, right? But as a listener, I know this is fairy tale and folly, right? But in real life, what you see is always reality, right? Even though they making up a dream, right? Because I heard a rapper say one time, while y'all spit that Wanderama stuff, me and my conglomerates shall remain anonymous, always talking about the finest stuff and all this stuff, right? So he's talking about a rich man's drug dealer life, right? How elite they are. And as somebody, as a listener that could barely afford to buy that CD, I'm dreaming the same thing he's dreaming, right? But where he's dreaming of it and he's making his way to that, I'm not making my way to that. I'm making my way to the time clock at work and hoping that I could get overtime so I could pay my bills. And so he puts the vicarious pressure, not just on me, but of millions of people that listen to that. When 30 years before that, or let's say 20 years before that, my pop's generation, my mom's and pop's generation, the people that were influential saying about love, right? About how one day they're going to meet their special person, right?
Mhm.
The only song I can remember from back in my popsdom era that talked about things was a song called Tramp. Got 5 Lincolns, 4 Folds, bragging about his cars and all that stuff. But for the most part, they sang about love and what it means for a man to finally find the woman, or what it means for the woman to finally find her man that's going to accept her for what she is. A lady sang a song one time. She sang a song. She said, I'm gonna knock on your door. I'm gonna rap on your window pane until you come back to me. That's all I'm gonna do." That's what she said in the song, and she meant that shit.
Right.
Right now, women go get the BBL and hope some man chase them around. Right now, female rappers are talking about how much sex they can have with anybody at any given time, and about how whatever. Right. But they're not talking about, "Oh, hey, listen, hey man, look, sex is good. I enjoy it more so than anybody else, right? But the thing is, would you like to be with somebody that love you for who you are, is going to accept you for who you are?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's one of those things. Like talking about those things. Hey, that's cool. I get it. I get it. But I think in today's society now, where we're talking about who is the most powerful, who has the most money, legit, we're listening to music by wannabe millionaires talking about what they're going to throw money away on as opposed to what they can do to help communities and stuff. They would rather buy their ninth Lamborghini than to help somebody in Queensbridge, New York. And so that's what I feel like the peer pressure comes from. Like this thing of when women hear about these guys over here and all the stuff that they have, and this, so when a regular guy, let's call him Joe, when Joe looked to holler, Joe would be like, hey ma'am, listen, I see you walk this way every day. And every day I try to summon the courage to come talk to you, just to say hi, just to look you in your face and say you're pretty. Not to get your phone number, just to get the courage to come over here and let you know how pretty you are. It took me 8 days of trying to summon up the courage just to walk over here and say hello. Right?
Yeah.
Women nowadays would take that as, ew, boy, that's you corny. Get out of here, cornball. And dudes that listen to who your favorite rapper right now?
Right now?
Yeah.
In this era or just all
Yeah,
time?
no, just right now. Right now.
Right now. I like Larry June. I like Conway.
Perfect example. People see a cat like Kanye West with all this money and all these deals, and now women will be like, if Triborough ain't like Kanye, he can't holler.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Queen, you got something to say about that? I think Queen is fanning. She thinks she get ready to go. She get ready to cut our head off on national TV.
No, I was telling one of my coworkers who's like 22. I said I come from the era where we would write our boyfriends letters and leave them cute little voice notes and stupid shit like that. You know, people like, oh, romance is dead. I will tell you, I am one of those women who do not like all the fancy materialistic shit in the world. I'm a very simple type of person. If you want to say hi, say hi. If you want to call me pretty, that's fine. You know, I don't mind. Like, don't feel like that all girls will call you corny, because there are some girls out there that are dying breed that will still accept the compliments, that will still accept the flowers and shit like that. We're not all bitches and hoes out here. Okay. I'm just joking, but we're not. You know, we actually there's a lot of us that still do like the finer things and the smaller things in life. I don't like men that are flashy. That's not my type of environment. I don't like men that I feel like they gotta buy me gifts that's not gonna get me to drop my drawers for you. Honestly, I can go out there and do that myself. I'm more a person that likes time and affection than anything. I feel like that can't be replaced, because no matter how much materialistic shit that you can buy someone to buy yourself, nobody's not gonna remember the Gucci's and the Louis and the Prada bags. They're gonna remember the little stuff that you put out there in the world.
Right. No doubt. No doubt. But we do have to try. We do have to recognize the fact that, you know, there may be those out there, but there also, man, have y'all ever been to a place called Brooklyn, New York? Have y'all ever heard the way women talk in Brooklyn? I'm just talking about in general, right? In general, I'm not talking about just, you know, a sweet old lady or a young girl that was raised right. I'm talking about in general, with Uggs and puff jackets on. Like you walk by him, bro. It sound like you at the shipyard, bro. As a man, like you walking by, you like 6'7" with Tim's on, benching 400 pounds, and they walk by you and they intimidate you the way they talk. Salute to King Ribby in the building. Andios is in the building. Salute. Fritz House Center was good, man.
Salute.
And so it's like one of those things where it's like as a man, and by the time you get to a certain age or whatever, you're gonna have flaws, whether it's physical flaws, emotional flaws, maybe you have some physical scars or whatever. You're not gonna be a perfect person. The person you want when you were 8, you were dreaming to grow up to be, you're not gonna be that person probably. Right? You're probably gonna grow up to be a person that's been in and out of relationships. Yeah. Maybe you had some tattoo sessions that went wrong. Like you saw the tattoo in your head one way, and then when you got it, you're like, oh, but it's mine. I think we live in that world where there are so many environmental factors where we get. So is it depressing? Is it depressing, or is it suppression?
You mean when it comes to like the peer pressure?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, for me personally, I never went through that. Thank God, I never went through that when I was a teenager. But I mean, I've heard, seen it happen to like friends and family, and I think now, especially with social media, I think that's all you see on your timeline. So you can see, like you said, like for young girls, like if they're looking at Megan Thee Stallion and they love her music, they might want to look like her when they older, or Nicki Minaj, and think that that's real, and they don't always look like that. Megan Thee Stallion don't look like that when she wakes up in the morning, and I knew that at a young age that you gotta love yourself and be happy with who you see in the mirror, and not try to be like everybody else. Like you your own person, and that's always that's always been the message that my mom and my grandparents taught me. Like be your own person, never be jealous of what somebody else got, and it's always stuck with me. You know what I'm saying? So I never had that issue of trying to be like somebody else and trying to look like somebody else. I love who I am, you know what I mean? And and the views and my opinions and thoughts on things, and that's just what I tell people, like be yourself. Don't worry about what everybody else think or what they got to say, and
You're a real one, bro. You're a real, because when I was 18, bro,
mm.
I was trying to look like El DeBarge. You remember El DeBarge?
Yeah.
You remember El DeBarge, bro?
Mm-hmm.
El DeBarge had the light-skinned dude, had the
long
hair. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Every time he walk around, the girls would just fainting all over him.
Yeah.
And he would be about to sing, and they would just faint. They would just pass out. That's what I wanted to be when I was 16. I wanted to be that. Right. The only thing about the difference between me and El DeBarge is he was cool and charismatic, and I wasn't. That's the difference.
Well, why do you think that though? Like, what makes you not cool compared to El DeBarge? Because you might be cool in your own way, and people might look at El DeBarge, well, he okay, but he's not Freezie.
Because at 16, I was in a weird dynamic, man. I had anger issues, and I also had an irrational proportion of confidence. Now, when I say I was super confident, don't get it twisted as I was smooth, right? I wasn't smooth. I was just unafraid, right?
Yeah.
Like when I see, like if I saw a girl my age walk in, like I told you the story. Remember I told you the story before about how the girl said it was going to take a miracle, and I poured the water in on the ground and stepped on it and told her I was walking on water. Remember I told you that story?
Yeah.
So I never lacked for like the confidence at that age.
Right.
At that age, I never lacked for confidence. It was just a thing, right? But even then, I had nobody to pull me to the side and like, hey man, you ain't gonna never be Elder Barge. But you could be Uncle Freezie though.
Right.
Right. See, I didn't have anybody to pull me to the side to say that. So for years, I felt like in order for me to be the best version of myself, I had to be somebody else. When at home, they should have been telling me, in order to be the best version of yourself, value yourself and others, and your light will shine from that,
Yeah.
and then you'll become something else.
Yeah.
But I wasn't told that because I come from a family. On one side of the family, they had low self-esteem issues,
Mhm.
right? And then the other side was just a bunch of people that were loud and drank. Their being cool was talking real loud. Like I asked my pops, no lie, I was humble about the way that I did it, right? The ice cream truck was outside,
Mhm.
all the kids on the block. And I just walked up to my father, man, as humbly as I could, and said, "Hey Jim, give me $2. The ice cream truck out here." And he was like, "Didn't I tell you to stop calling me Jim? And I was like, that's your name, right?" But yeah, man. It's I guess it's about like the peer pressure of things like,
Right.
you know, what social norms, what's acceptable, right? Like women nowadays like to have this thing called baby hair, like on a thing.
Mhm.
And that's not baby hair. Baby hair don't never look like that. Well, you bought that from the wig shop? You bought baby hair? I don't understand it. I don't understand certain things. Like I don't know. Well, I do know why, but I don't know how it got this far. I don't know how we allow little girls to grow up thinking that they always need to impress society as opposed to them feeling loved and safe.
Yeah.
As a little girl, you should feel safe and loved and valued. You shouldn't feel like you're not good enough. Girls, women now, I feel like go through this thing their entire life where they don't feel appreciated. Queen, am I correct on that?
I think it's because of your first love is supposed to be your dad, right? That's what they always tell little girls, that your first love is your dad. The man who's supposed to treat you a certain way. He's supposed to teach you what a man's supposed to, how a man's supposed to treat you in the future. And a
Right.
lot of girls don't grow up with dads. A lot of us don't have daddy figures. So we're always misguided on our own self worth, our own self love. And sometimes we wind up in these really, really toxic environments in relationships and friendships because nobody taught us how to love ourselves and value ourselves over everybody else.
Right.
As being one of those girls who never had a dad growing up, I had stepfathers like my mom's second husband still treats me like his daughter. Love that man to death. He somewhat taught me what my grandfather didn't teach me. So I thank God that I did have male figures in my life to
Right.
teach me somewhat of what a man's supposed to do. But also at the same time, I've seen the dark side of their relationships with the cheating and the lying. And I always thought that was acceptable because the way my family stayed,
Right.
no matter what. So I'm learning now that it's okay to let go and to love yourself and not to try to fit this narrative of what people think your life looks like. It's okay to have your own identity outside of everything. I'm not everybody's cup of tea in life.
Right.
Everybody, like, I feel like with me, I'm very naturally charming and charismatic and outgoing, even though I'm a very antisocial, social type of person. Um, I just have a way of pulling people towards me without even trying, and sometimes it's could be a good thing.
Right.
And sometimes it could be a bad thing depending on who's in the circle. Give me a second. I need you.
I think it comes from a level of strength, Chabaro.
Yeah,
How strong are you inside? Right.
man.
And see, some of us um think strength and tough are the same thing when they're not, right? You get tough by going through stuff. Like if you've ever seen how leather is made,
Hmm.
leather is tough, right?
Right.
Like leather is tough, but if you see how much that skin get beat in order to become leather,
Hmm.
you think to yourself, do I want to get beat up like that in order to become tough? No,
Right.
I don't. Strength though comes from a peace and confidence, right? Like strength comes from a peace and a confidence where certain things are not going to draw you into a, like for instance, when I say the greatest borough God ever created, as soon as I go down that road, you have enough strength and peace, right? Enough kind not to even go down that road like, oh boy, I already know he's gonna try to
Mhm.
drag me into this conversation, right?
Yeah.
And honestly, it's not a conversation worth having. It's just a joke,
Right.
right? But the thing is about that is I think we misalign certain things. Like being tough and being strong are not the same thing, right? Being tough means you can withstand more. Being strong means you can walk away from more.
Right.
You'll have the strength to know what your limit is. I'm only going to take so much of this demeaning conversation, so to speak, right? I'm
Right.
only going to take so much of this person calling me out of my name before I walk off and not look back. Tough means regardless how much you can take, you're going to stay there and take it 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 and take it. That's being tough,
Yeah.
right? The thing is, do you want to be tough or do you want to be strong, right? Sometimes certain situations call for one or the other, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes but when it comes to your emotional health, I think one of the things we rarely talk about as Black people is emotional health. Like, how you feeling, right? Like, you can legit be with somebody, and they can be in a conversation where somebody else just constantly keeps hurting their feelings, and that one person won't say a thing, even though on the inside their feelings are hurt to the point where they just want to go somewhere and just cry,
Yeah.
right? Because their emotions have taken such a beating that they can't handle it no more. They just want to break down and cry. And I'm not talking about women because I know women do it.
Yeah.
I'm talking about dudes. I'm talking about men. Men will go through so much stuff that they'll just go somewhere and they'll cry and they'll see another man. Like, hey, dog, what wrong with you? Hey, man, queen out here got this house all smoky, man. Got my eyes all watering.
Go,
You know what I'm saying?
go, go,
Trying to hide it.
Right.
go. Just go. Go.
I want to kiss. You kiss me. I kiss you. Get off the bed. Come on.
You think I'm wrong about the tough person?
No, I think you're right. I think you gotta be comfortable within your own skin to like tell people how you feel and not keep it bottled in so that it comes out the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? Especially for men, I think like if something is bothering us, we're gonna get angry naturally. But that's like our first instinct instead of like talking about it. You know what I'm saying? And everybody is different. I think everybody handles you know, something differently, they're gonna react to it differently than the next person do. You know what I'm saying? But like what you said, like I think it's a lot stronger to walk away from a situation than to, you know, make a mistake and then you end up paying for it later on.
Right.
You know, so that comes with experience and with life and being in, you know, in those situations, and you know, realizing that, yo, I messed up this first time. Next time that happen, I'm not gonna mess up again. I got to do it differently this time.
Right.
You know, I can't get angry this time. I got to actually listen to what the person is saying, and you know, talk to them instead of just getting angry, you know, off the rip.
Right. Right. What I notice women will do
Mm,
is they will allow a man to enter their life and separate them from their family by saying, "Hey, I'm your new family."
right.
Right? I'm your new family, right? Oh, your family ain't nothing. Look how they treat you.
Mm-hmm.
I went over there. They'll never treat you right, and they'll say things like that to wedge you away from your family. And then once you are isolated, they'll start doing things like
The same
demeaning
thing.
you,
Yeah.
like demeaning you, like, girl, well, you ain't got nowhere to go. They ain't gonna take you back.
Mm-hmm.
You here with me. And it's so you'll hear things like that. It's a lot of things that lead to anxiety and depressions and things of that sort. Like, oh, I didn't mean to hurt you, but every time you do that to me, it just make me flip out,
Right.
right? And you're like, wait a minute, do something to you and make you hurt me. So you saying I am making you hurt? I'm hurting myself? No, this ain't the type of deal right here.
A
This
textbook narcissist, a textbook gaslighter.
yep, yep,
That's
yep,
because a lot of women, like I said, don't have dads, or they have dads that treated their mom like shit and didn't know how to treat women. Period. It takes a lot. Like for me, it takes a lot for me because I love so hard, and I'm the person I fight for whatever I love to a certain point. I'm only gonna fight for so long before I say fuck it. You
right,
won. I'm over it. I'm done. I don't got time for it no more. Go about your business. Like,
right,
and it gets me to that where I know that I have tried everything in my power to fix whatever the issue is. It takes me a while to realize I'm not the problem. Other person's the problem. Like, not I realize I ain't the problem. It's you. Yeah,
right,
because
right,
I'm fixing myself, but you still got these underlying issues that I just can't figure out what the fuck is wrong with you. Like, I got children to mentally and emotionally grow. I'm not about to mentally and emotionally grow a grown ass adult that's not trying to mentally and emotionally grow. That
right,
I after a while I'm gonna just stop because
right,
it's gonna drain the fuck out of me if I continue to
right,
to do it.
right. Yeah, yeah. I think a lot of that leads to our and I know and for everybody watching on Queen of Kings channel, everybody watching on Vibes and stuff, make sure y'all hit that like button. Y'all see them emojis telling y'all what to do. Subscribe to the channel. Y'all see them emojis on the screen telling y'all what to do. Subscribe to the channel. Leave comments in the comment section. Join the conversation. Follow us on social medias and things like that because these type of conversations are the conversations that we need to have. I honestly don't have the mental capacity or storage to talk about another Jay Z car. I just don't. I don't care nothing about what Jay Z driving no more. I don't have the emotional storage to talk about the Kendrick and Drake beef no more. I got my fill of that, and now I want to talk about adult stuff.
Right.
Right. Right. I want to talk about how we can help our communities. I want to talk about how we can help ourselves. Right. I want to talk about how we can help ourselves emotionally and mentally through other means, like by recognition, by fitness, by rest. And when I mean rest, I don't mean sleep because you're going to sleep at some point. Right. Some point you're going to. I'm talking about the rest, like where you can sit down and the world outside of you Is it going to bother you? And you can come to a place of peace where you can inhale and exhale and not have worrisome thoughts, not have troublesome thoughts, not thinking about, not having anxiety, not having thoughts of harming yourself or someone else. Just be in a place where
It got stuck.
you can let everything
Open the garbage. in there.
release
Open the garbage.
and have your and just have your moment.
Go lay down somewhere, please, in there.
I
Go
think
ahead.
when we get to that point of understanding that fitness plays a part of it, rest plays a part of it, having a sounding board, a person that you can communicate instead of keeping those feelings trapped inside, have a person that's gonna listen to you, but that person has to be in the same place where you are, a place of peace, because you don't want to do this to a person that you can't trust, and they wind up making the situation worse. They take the stuff that you share with them and gossip about you to everybody. You don't need that person.
Right.
You're not that desperate for somebody to talk to. Find a person that you can communicate with.
Yeah.
Find a person that you can talk to on that level, and and be the person where somebody can come and talk to you, and when they start talking, you don't cut them off and talk about yourself. Because I think we all know people like that. Like the person you're trying to share something with them and they keep cutting you off because they also had a bad day and they need a sounding board. The thing is, you can't have two sounding boards at the same time.
Right.
You can't have water and a sponge. I mean, we need water and a sponge. You can't have two sponges together, right? You can't have two things of water together. You need water and a sponge, right? They're opposites, right?
Yeah.
You need to have that in your life where if you have a bad day, you can have that person to talk to, even if you have to schedule it. Like, hey, bro, this motherfucker keep cutting me off at work, bro. I'm gonna put my hands on him. Try to be like, nah, man, dang, man, I got Triborough be like, hey, man, I'm cooking fish right now. Let me call you back Friday. I'll wait till Friday. You know what I'm saying? Then Friday come, try be like, yo, Uncle Freezie, I'm in a quiet place. I'm on a back porch. You know, ain't nothing back here, man, but me and the night sky. I'm all ears, bro. Tell me what's going on.
Right.
And the same thing for Try. Try be like, man, Uncle Freezie, man, I've been listening to this 90s R&B, man. It's driving me crazy, bro. I need somebody to talk to. And I'm like, hey, Triborough, man, I'm juggling chainsaws right now. But if you call me back in a couple of hours, bro, I promise you that I'll be in a nice, quiet place. And then when you call me back, I'll be in that quiet place. And I'm like, bro, it's all quiet out here. I done put the dogs up, man. I'm all ears. And we just listen to each other. Not respond, just listen. Right? Just because a lot of times we don't have diffusion. Like Tribor, you ever seen the teapot on the stove when you put the heat to it and it start bubbling on the inside and to the point where that teapot start hollering, steam coming all out. Yeah. We don't ever want to get like that. When the pressure get to us, we want to take ourselves out of that environment. Take that tea kettle off the stove, put it in a cool place, and let that thing cool down. Because it's not going to cool down instantly. It's going to take some time to cool down.
Yeah.
Right? And I think we don't have that. I think that's one of the things that we're missing.
If you actually listen to when I be talking, sometimes you don't listen when I'm talking. I literally told you that I was doing a live.
You feel me? Maybe not.
I definitely feel what you're saying.
Okay.
You know, we got to listen to each other. Like, I listen to the person's problems and they listen to my problems, and we could bounce off each other like that and give advice.
And you know what? A lot of times we won't even have all the answers.
Right.
We might not have none of the answers, bro. but we can be the confidant for a little while.
Yeah.
Right. Just be the confidant and just listen.
Oh, yeah.
Ain't no harm in that.
I agree.
Right. So
Sorry about that, guys.
Sorry.
ain't nothing, Queen. I just took it as you didn't like my tea kettle analogy.
No. So remember I said earlier that I'm a person that loves so hard. The man that just walked out the door, I'm gonna share something with you guys that's personal. I've been married to this man since I was 21 years old. This man is 56. When I tell you I done fought for this marriage, I'm so over it. And he just won't catch a fucking hint. Textbook narcissist, textbook gaslighter. We argue all the time because he just does not understand that I am done. I am over it. I no longer want to fight. And he was like, "Oh, well, you've been married for so long. You have been married. You have been together for so long. How can you just stop loving somebody like that easily? I'm a fucking Libra. The love will go the fuck out the window so fast. You will mean nothing to me. I would then kill you in my head 20 times over. Trust me. Ask my siblings. I know not talk to my sister. I can't stand that bitch to save her life.
Right. Right.
I will act like you never existed to me.
Right.
Like this, and he does not never listen to shit. Okay, I could be telling him about my day at work or my day at school or something that's really just emotionally like bothering me. Never fucking listens. Like the nigga's never emotionally available. Like, so why the fuck? Like, he asked a stupid question. What are you doing? And then fucking told you 50 times what the fuck I was doing, sir.
Right.
That's a textbook narcissist that literally likes to gaslight, never takes accountability for nothing. He is mentally not there and never will be. And that's the example I said earlier that sometimes men like that, no matter how old they get, will never mentally fucking mature.
Right.
I am married to one, unfortunately, and I had to end my marriage because I just no longer could mentally take his immaturity and his non-existence of growth.
Right.
Because like I can't stay staggered in the same unhealthy environment.
Right.
That shit will mentally fucking destroy you. And it's like I told Try on the phone, I'm like, I lost weight dealing with his mental. His mental was destroying my mental, and it made me so sick. Or to when I was losing weight trying to fix him and not fix myself.
Right.
And I had to stop fixing him because it wasn't working. And it was not healthy for my children.
Right. Right. Wow. I appreciate you sharing that with us too. Man, listen, y'all a lot braver than I am. Right. Y'all a lot braver than I am. I ain't gonna lie to you.
I feel like certain things can help the next person who feel like when you're married to older people, they like to control. And once the moment they lose control, they start spiraling out of fucking control. And that's exactly what's happening to him. I don't know if he knows that he fucked up or he's just not realizing he fucked up and I just don't give a fuck anymore. Then now he wants to act like he gives a fuck. But I'm not impressed by it. Right. I needed that before. Now I don't want it. Don't give a fuck about it. Take that shit and take it up shove your ass at this point.
Right. At least you know how. At least you understand where you are. Like with me, and not changing the subject because I understand where in terms of the feeling. I think I understand where you're coming from. In terms of the situation, I'll never understand. That's y'all business, y'all situation. But in terms of how you saying it, I think I understand and can follow. Right. I am, however, like terrible at other relationships, like friendships. Like I only call Tribe Boro Gigolo when I need something. Hey, Tribe, what you doing? Let's talk some R&B. like that. Hey, I don't never call Tribe and ask him to borrow $20, and I should. Right? Like, hey, Tribe, what you doing, man? Oh yeah, let me borrow $20. You know what I'm saying? I don't like. I should be doing that, right? But I only call him when I want to just talk about stuff like this conversation. Like legit today, I texted him and called him 15 minutes before the show started. Like, hey man, what you doing? You supposed to be here. right? No, no, I could have, and listen, I could have been hitting him up all week. I could have hit him up yesterday. I could have hit him up 2 days ago, right? But when it comes like personally, but the thing is now that I'm at a place, I know that I'm not a great person at um extended relationships, like friendships, right? Like for instance, I'm a straightforward talker, right? And I know people say, keep it real, man, keep it a bean, son. This is how people talk to you. But then when you keep it a bean, you hurt their feelings and they take it a certain type of way. People say keep it real. They don't mean that. They just mean communicate better, is what they mean. They don't mean tell the truth all the time. Mean, hey man, just talk to me and let me know, right? Like some people, like most people, it's not about what you say, it's how you say it. With me, it's about what I say, not how I say it. Right? Like to me, I just get straightforward like a laser beam. Like, hey, bro, you want on time? What's going on? Like with no consideration that this person might have gone through something that kind of caused them to not be at the place where they said or whatever. Right. So that's my external struggle. Like being a straight shooter. Being a straight shooter is not a good thing. Right? People have feelings and considerations, and you should always think about their feelings and considerations. Now, don't put them before your own. Don't destroy yourself for the sake of trying to save somebody else. But let me phrase it in a different way. Don't destroy yourself for the sake of saving somebody that can save themselves. Right? Like if when it comes to kids and children and stuff like that, of course you want to put them before yourself, but when it comes to others that can save themselves, right, don't, what I'm saying, you don't want to go chasing waterfalls. You just want to stick to the rivers and streams you used to, basically.
See, I used to be like that, like you. I'm a very good friend, but now I'm very selective about the people that I call my friends. Um, when I lost my mom, I had this really good friend who's no longer my friend, who was apparently never my fucking friend. But it took me a minute to realize the bitch was never my friend. That I had to hit rock bottom to realize that she was never really a friend. And I say that because leave it up to her. She'll tell you I was a shitty ass friend and never gave a fuck about her.
Right.
When I'm very, very not a selfish person, I will literally give you the shirt off my back because that's how I've always been. I've always been a caring type person. But now I'm not like, fuck your feelings. I'm more like, I make sure my friends is good. If you are willing to stand behind me 10 toes, I'm going to do the same for you at all times. Now,
Do they need to prove that first? Do they need to prove that do they need to prove and they'll go to hell and high water for you first for you to prove that you'll go through hell and high water for them?
No, I feel like with me now at my age, at 30 years old, I feel more like it's actions. Like the friends I have now, they're younger than me. They're like little siblings. I call them. They're like little siblings to me. But it's more like if I need advice or something, they're there to give me advice. I'm there to give them that big sister advice. They're there to give me that little sibling advice, you know? And I tell people I'm not a friend that looks for materialistic shit. Just show up for me.
Right.
Be there when I'm at my best and at my worst. Right now,
Right.
I'm in a place where I feel like I'm at an okay standpoint. I'm not there at my best yet, but I'm there at an okay standpoint.
Right. Right. Right.
I had to stop being a people pleaser. It's not working anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Takes a
yeah.
lot.
Yeah, I feel you. This the topic that you mentioned, like when we first met and you were talking about this topic, I appreciated the fact that you were willing to talk about this and it wasn't like a cliche moment. Oh, I'm doing this because it's mental awareness month. So it wasn't just that. It was because you actually wanted to talk about it, and it wasn't like clickbaity. Like, oh, I'm just going to talk about this hot topic on the internet. It wasn't that. I felt like when you brought it up, you really wanted to talk about it.
Because I'm passionate about it. I feel like there's no voice out there for the people that are actually really suffering in silence,
Right.
whether it be from generational trauma, whether it be from racial trauma, from whatever you feel like you're going through. Um, Most people don't like to talk. I have a mental health journal out on Amazon where you can just buy it and write your stories down. You ain't gotta tell nobody. You ain't gotta share it with nobody. Just be
Right.
a way to express yourself in your darkest times. And
Right.
I feel like because there's no advocate with these celebrities, that everybody is just talking about the weed and the lean and the BBLs. There's nobody talking about the mental health that plays the community, especially amongst our children who are coming from post COVID, who never really got the mental adjustment back into going to school because
Right.
they was locked down for so long.
The social anxiety and awkwardness of being isolated for years, and then now you're going back into these public spaces,
Mhm.
and so there's there- excuse me, there's a lot of stuff that like that we went through a lot of stuff during lockdown. Like we legit were isolated from each other,
Yeah.
and then now that we're forced to kind of be back in this realm of being ordinary people again, there's a transition.
Right.
Yeah, I saw people that legit didn't know how to talk to each other. They face to face cutting each other off. You know, so you like, yo, y'all don't even know how to, COVID got y'all like that. Like y'all don't even know how to talk and laugh. And of course, because when you live in isolation for so long, it takes an adjustment period for you to get back to where you were before or better. Like for me, I'm not gonna say I liked the isolation, but I got used to it. I got used to being on this screen and communicating and using internet words as opposed to communicating like I see trying, hey, motherfucker, what the hell you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like you know what I'm saying? I'm talking in a way where communicating in a way where you know, I could present myself in a certain way and respect people's thoughts and ideas at the same time. And they can communicate that thing back to me. And when I leave the conversation, I felt like I got an emotional and an intellectual takeaway from it, something I can think about after I leave the conversation. Right. But before that, I talk to people and you ask me what we talked about when I get in the car. I'm like, I don't know. That one we just talking. You don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I'm learning how. Yeah, hey, yo, y'all judging me. Y'all judging me, right?
No.
Y'all
I
judging me.
do.
Okay, because I think y'all been through that. You know how you be to talk to somebody. You could talk to somebody for an hour, and then somebody ask you what y'all talked about. You like,
Mhm.
I don't know. That
I,
man just
I
talking.
don't know. I'm not a people person. I really don't go out my house. I don't go outside, so I don't know.
Oh, oh.
I don't go
Yeah,
outside.
yeah. Do you? Hey, how do y'all? Is that one of y'all pet peeves? Being judged by others?
Nah, I don't care. Like that never bothered me. I mean, like I think that's always been going on in my life. Like being the only child, raised by a single parent, and you know, having like a middle class life. So that's been going on forever. For people gonna say what they want. They're gonna think what they want.
Right.
Like I said, you gotta have thick skin. You gotta know who you are and not let the outside noise bother you. Because once that happens, then you feed into that. What this one said about you, what they think about you, and I don't care.
I had
Okay.
to learn. I had to learn to let people judge. I'm an open book. I ain't never gonna sugarcoat shit. I'm 30 years old. I'll be 31 at the end of the month. I lived a very spontaneous, very wild life, and especially with my children, I will never be a hypocrite. I would just tell you do better than I did. But I'm a very open book. Like I put my life out there because I rather me tell my story and me share my experience than try to have someone else put out a false narrative. Like I don't mind being the villain in anybody's story. As long as you telling the truth, we okay. Like my ex best friend. I don't mind being the villain, but let's be real and let's be honest about the truth of the story.
Right.
If you're gonna lie and make it seem like I'm the bad guy in a moment where I just buried my mother and you made it seem like I was fucked up because I could no longer be this friend that you desired in the moment, then I'll take that. But I'm not gonna be a villain if you're gonna lie. Like, let me be the villain of the story if you're gonna tell the truth. But the moment that I hear that you're lying is the moment I'm gonna say, nah, I'm gonna give you the truth. You wanna know the fucking story? Tell you the story. I'm gonna give you the truth because I'm not a person that's gonna sit there and lie to make myself look good. If I'm at fault, I can admit me being a grown ass adult that I was at fault. But if I know I did nothing wrong, I'm gonna be like, I didn't do nothing wrong.
Right.
I didn't do shit.
Right. 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 That sounds like Brooklyn all day.
She's from Queens.
Queens, New York.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I didn't know Queens had black people, bro. Except
Yeah.
for Queensbridge.
I'm from Ravenswood. I was born in Long Island City. I grew up in Ravenwood housing.
Okay. Okay.
I am from the projects, y'all.
Right.
Shout out to the projects.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, hey, so and I only have like a few minutes left before I have to do some other things with this Friday night. And you know, y'all know how it is, man. You grind all week, man. And I think the missus has some I don't know what that is in there. Mary J. Blige or something in there playing or something in Vogue or something. You know what I'm saying? So I have to kind of go in there and be I have to be the obese version of Shamar Moore. Is it tonight? Whatever. Except my teeth are straight. My teeth are naturally straight.
Oh,
So yeah. So yeah. But in these last few moments, I just want to ask, Queen, do you have anything else going on? Anything else we should be aware of to look out for the channel?
Um, Currently I'm trying to get my life together. But I might start doing my poetry readings online. If you would indulge me, I would like to read a poem before we end.
All right.
From one of my books.
Let me do this. Let me go around the panel and then we can end on that. Is that okay with you? Okay. Hey, so try. You got anything going on Instagram? You going
yeah,
live?
I do like retro reviews on like with the homie Chop It Up Hip Hop. He's also from Queens, and we do like retro hip hop reviews. We did Mobb Deep Murder Music last week, and
Really?
yes, I'll send you the live.
Okay.
We did Mama Said Knock You Out for the anniversary. We talked about LL Cool J's new album, The Force. That was a good review, and I know we're planning on doing it more often, like every week. And yeah, shout out to Reg. You can see me on Reg's channel. We do weekly reviews and stuff on his channel. Me for my channel, I'm currently in football mode, so I'm talking like NFL football,
Right.
for the moment. And I got some other stuff coming on the channel. So.
Go to bed.
Okay. Okay. So for me, vibes and stuff, the channel you watching, and if you're watching on Queen of Kink, vibes and stuff, subscribe to the channel. And if you're watching on vibes and stuff, go subscribe to Queen of Kink. I think we have a spur of the moment goal of getting Queen to 1,000 subscribers by November. So if you're watching, just go ahead and click the button, turn all the notifications on, hit the like button. So y'all know Blawrence Tears, place to be, #1 Chief Rocker. We're gonna talk with it. Y'all like to have that talk to y'all. In the morning, we're gonna do a members only show on Blawrence Tears. Tomorrow night, we're gonna do something on social media. I don't know if it's gonna be on Vibes or it's gonna be on here, but we're definitely gonna rock the spot a little bit. And on that note, Queen got a poem she gonna share. And what I want y'all to do is be attentive, right? And put your comments in the chat about the flowetry that's about to happen. Yo, is flowetry a word? Can we patent
It should be.
can we patent that? Because it's a flow and poetry at the same time. Try,
Right.
can we just take that name and use
Yeah.
it? Like the three
Yeah,
of
because
us?
they're not gonna do nothing with it, so why we could use it.
We split the three of us. Flowetry.
Yeah.
Bam, there it is. All right, Queen, it's on you.
So I write poetry for a living. I have books out of Amazon. So I'm gonna read a poem from my, I guess it would be like kind of an autobiography or biography book from my life, my pain, my story. This is more of a little bit more about me personally. I'm gonna read a poem that I wrote about my battle with depression. It's called "The Fight Against Depression." Today, I might be down. Tomorrow, I might be up. This is a battle I will continue to fight. I fight against my depression every day. With the difficulties of the demons, I will not let depression win. As I sit alone in the dark, my mind starts to race. I'm thinking about how life would be without me. I'm thinking about how free I would be from the pain. I'm thinking about how life would be for my children. No one talks about the dark side of depression. No one talks about the thoughts that go through the mind. No one talks about the feeling of not wanting to get up. No one talks about how sometimes the biggest smiles hold the most pain. No one talks about the demons coming and knocking on your door. No one talks about the demons talking and telling you to end it all. Nobody loves you. Can you look into my eyes and see my pain? What stories do my eyes reveal? I smile on the outside while I'm hurt and broken inside. Today I might be down, tomorrow I might be up. I will continue the fight against depression every day.
That was good. I like it.
Bam. So you can check for the Queen on Amazon. Keep an eye out for the title of the book, right? Queen, can you hold the book up? Them. So you want to find that on Amazon, and since the holidays are coming up, just go ahead and buy. Queen, how much is the book on Amazon?
I think $25 to $30. It comes
20,
in paperback and hardcover.
oh, so it's 25 or 30 bucks on Amazon. It'll be a fantastic holiday gift. You know the holidays are coming up, right? Just go ahead and buy 6 or 7 of them, and when you do your gift bags and things, just put the Queen's book in the bottom of the bag along with the gift that you were already going to buy, and it goes to a good cause. You know, a young aspiring writer, culture changer, wrote a book, and so you can be jump in the beginning stages and follow her journey as she strives to become a difference maker, maybe in the line of a Terry McMillan or somebody that has written a bunch of books and shared life experiences and is going down this self-help path. So Queen, hey, thank you for allowing me to rock on a Friday night, take out a large chunk of your time. I appreciate it. Triborough, as usual, I will hit you up at an awkward time tomorrow to talk about a
Okay.
very awkward and odd music subject. I don't know what it is yet, but it's fun.
Yeah.
So
I'll be
and so again, everybody, thank y'all for rocking with us. Make sure y'all hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we out of here, y'all. Peace.